we're just going to focus on flow and the quality of water. So please bring yourself down into child's pose. Toes together, knees wide, stretch those arms out. And begin to really simply cultivate the breath here. That these first really good 15-20 minutes of class, we're interested in the quality of flow. In the sense that we take an active step in creating flow. And we do that particularly by noticing the transitions of the breath, then later the transitions of the movement. But as you rest here in child's pose, do notice what is that quality like as the breath turns from an inhale into an exhale, and from an exhale into an inhale. And how do you cultivate those transitions so that if they don't already, they move towards you eventually being able to explain them as flowing, as smooth. Stay with it a little longer. Begin to pace out the length of the breaths. That both inhale and exhale have a sense of length, a sense of patience to them. And you know, if that feels uncomfortable for you, if that's a little awkward in the lungs, that probably indicates you have been rushing a little lately. As you're ready, please rise to all fours kneeling. Tuck your toes, take downward facing dog as you breathe out. Return to all fours kneeling as you inhale. Child's pose, breathe out. All fours again, inhale. Down dog, exhale. All fours, inhale. Child's pose, exhale. Now do that 3 more times, and as you do it, notice the quality of the breath. And notice the quality of your movements. Almost as though you're outside the breath, outside the body looking in. Would you describe them as fluid? Would you describe them as flowing? Would you notice that the transitions have a sense of smoothness to them? find yourself in downward facing dog. Hold it there, please. Press through the pointer finger and the thumb very powerfully to feel the inner part of the arms engage. Then grip them out a little bit with the little finger and feel the outer line of the arm squeeze, almost like you're trying to squeeze the triceps back to the waist. Notice here if you have the tendency to lock out the knees and curve the lower back. And feel free to soften the knees off and instead extend back through the hip crease. Hold it here for 3. Again, how is the quality of the breath, especially in the transitions? Please gently touch back down to all fours kneeling. Reach your right hand forward and the left leg back. Breathe in. Elbow taps past knee underneath you. Curve the spine. 4 more like that. Lots of interest in the quality of the breath, the quality of the movement, and still this sense of if you were outside of your body, outside of your breath looking in, how would you explain that quality of movement? When you next reach long, hold it, please. The left leg stays lifted, put the right hand down, tuck the right toes, and push back to 3-legged dog. Feel very elevated through the heel as you inhale here. Exhale, high plank, knee to nose, squeeze the outer arms back and almost feel like you're trying to squeeze paper in the armpits. 3 more of those. Kick back, inhale. High plank, knee to nose. 2 more. If you were outside your body, outside your breath, how would you explain the texture of your movement? Last one. High plank, knee to nose. Stay there for 3. For 2, notice if the butt has over-elevated. Bring the shoulders back over the wrists. Last one. Lightly lunge forward, please. Low lunge, inhale, chest, collarbones forward. Hamstring stretch, hips lift, face into front shin. 4 of these. So that you begin to notice as you move that you have the ability to actively create flow. The world is always in flow, that's the truth. Our lives are always in flow. And you start to notice, and this is what these vinyasa practices are about, am I resisting it? Am I fighting it? Or am I choosing to work with and create it? Hold your last one here. How are you creating flow? Fluidity. An acceptance of the natural transitions. Please return to your low lunge. Place the hands, step back to downward facing dog. Then return to all fours kneeling. Take a breath in. Child's pose, breathe out. All fours kneeling, inhale. Down dog, breathe out. 3 more times, kneeling, then child's pose, kneeling, then down dog. From the outside looking in, how much are you rushing? How much are you resisting? Is there a jaggedness to the transitions? And it's called a practice for a reason, because if you do notice that, if you do notice that you're rushing, if you do notice that you're resisting, if you do notice that you kind of hold on to the changes, then you get to practice here flow, smoothness, the quality that you'd like to take going forward. When you're next on all fours kneeling, hold it there. Left hand forward, right leg back, inhale. Elbow to knee under you. 4 more times. We're just repeating what we did on the other side. And the whole time you rest as this outside observer. If you were your own student, what would you tell yourself? Would you suggest slowing down a part of the breath? Would you suggest supporting, strengthening a part of the body? What do you need to cultivate flow, acceptance of change? When your neck stretch long, stay there. Keep the right leg up, put the left hand down, tuck the left toes, 3-legged dog, inhale. High plank, knee to nose. 4 more times. Hold high plank. Notice the quality of breath. Breath in. Lunge forward, breathe out. Low lunge, inhale. Hamstring stretch. Low lunge. Hamstring stretch. 4 more. Like an outside observer, watching the quality of the movement, watching the quality of your breath. Maybe even beginning to watch the quality of your energetics and your thoughts. One more. Hold the hamstring stretch. Please look to the top of your mat, step up. inside your shoulders and bow deeply. You can choose here to hold elbows. Maybe let hands relax. Maybe interlace them behind the back. Please relax your hands down to the mat. Soften knees, roll to standing one vertebrae at a time. Hands and feet land in Anjali Mudra. Close your eyes. Three Oms to open our practice. Inhale. Sun salutations. Reach up, inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Lengthen out through a flat back. Step back to a high plank position, please. What I've been noticing a lot lately is that our shoulders are tipped right back behind our wrists and our butts high in the air. And what it does, even though it's easier, it takes all of the work out of the core, and so our desire to get stronger in the core never fully comes to fruition. Bring the center of your armpits over the center of your wrist, please. Bring the butt down in line with the shoulders, and then draw up between the front hip bones like you're tightening a belt. Stay here for 3 more breaths. And as an impartial observer, how would you notice the quality of your thoughts right now? Like, have you made plank a bigger deal than it is? Last breath in. Knees down, please, for this first round. Your shoulders and chest go much further forward than your fingertips. Cobra pose, draw the shoulders back. Downward facing dog, press up, back and away. Take 3 breaths here. Have a look. If you've locked out your knees, you'll see it. They look a little collapsed backwards. Soften them. And instead look and get the hip crease deeper. Breathe in here. Feel those triceps squeezing back to the side ribs. Then look forward. On no breath, step all the way up to your hands. Flat back, you support the hands, lengthen out the back body. And fold back down, face into shin. Rise up to standing, energize hands and feet. Fold forward. Halfway lift, long spine. Step back to high plank just for 1 breath. Now keep the shoulders forward over the wrists. Feel like you're squeezing a marble in the breath in. We haven't gone yet, girls. Come back to high plank. Good, inhale. Push off the toes so the crown of the head goes forward. You only lower halfway down. The shoulders are no lower than elbows. Then either knees down or flip over the toes to come a little higher. Downward facing dog, please. Breathe in. And look forward. Step lightly, top of the mat. Halfway lift. Fold forward. Rise up, reach up. Bow back down. Halfway lift. High plank. Think belt buckle in the front hips. And think marbles or envelopes of paper in the armpits. Hold the paper or the marble in the armpits as you bring your weight forward and lower halfway down. The hips don't collapse. Knees or push the toes back to rise. Downward facing dog. Full breath in. Breath out. Top of the mat, lightly step up. Halfway lift. Fold, exhale. Rise to standing, stretch those arms up, big breath in. Fold forward, breathe out. Halfway lift. High plank to low plank, like you're squeezing marbles in the armpits and tightening a tight belt. Knees or toes. Down dog. Breath in. Fluid breath out. Top of the mat. Halfway. Fold. Rise to standing. Bow back down. Notice the sequence. Half lift. High plank to low plank. Tighten a belt. Squeeze something in the armpits. Back bend. Down dog. Breath in. And fluidly breathe out. Look forward, step or jump. Inhale. Exhale. Rise, inhale. Fold, exhale. So there's a sense of landing on a beat here. Halfway, inhale. Chaturanga, low plank, exhale. You can be knees or toes, chest far forward of the fingertips. Inhale. Exhale. Breath in. Breath out. Top of the mat. 3 more rounds. Halfway. Fold. Now, as an impartial observer, rise up, inhale. Bow. Am I rushing ahead of the metronome? Halfway. Chaturanga. Am I rushing flow? Back bend. What's the quality of my movement, of my breath? Stay. Exhale. Top of the mat. Halfway. Fold. Inhale. Exhale. Am I creating the pace? Halfway. Chaturanga. Or is there this rushing, some sort of outer hurriedness creating the pace? Breath in. Breath out. Top of the mat, last round. Halfway, be that impartial observer. Rise, breathe in. Fold, breathe out. Halfway. Chaturanga. Inhale. Exhale. Stay, lift your right leg behind you. Look forward, please lightly lunge to the top of your mat. Place the back knee and reach both hands up. Notice any tendency to kind of lean onto the front thigh. We'd like to have a really low lunge in the front leg. You can even over lunge the knee. But we'd like to have the ribs draw back. Hold it here. Keep the 2 points of the hips shining straight forward to the top ends of your mat. As you turn towards that right thigh, opening both hands. Notice here if all the twisters come from the lower back or the hips. Again, keep the hips steady. Try and keep the navel turning back towards the front of the mat as it's the armpits, the side ribs that spiral. Hold it here. Back hand reaches to back heel, top hand reaches up. You can stay here, or if there's range, lift the back heel. For 3. For 2, draw the left waist up off the hips. Keep turning both hips to the top of the mat, your belly to the top of the mat, and twisting from the armpits. Last breath. Release the foot, plant the hands, pyramid, face into shin. And surrender the neck. What happened for you there? You're an active participant in creating flow. Or did something override you? Downward facing dog, please. Other side, lift the left leg up. Lunge it lightly between the hands. If it doesn't make it, your foot only comes halfway down the mat. Grab the ankle and keep helping it. Back knee down. Both hands to the sky as you untuck the back toe. Good, so it's the same experience that the belly stays facing forward, the hip bones stay facing forward. We keep drawing the belly off the front thigh even as we bend deeper down into that knee. Good, maintain that. Turn and open your chest towards the left leg. Hips go towards the top of the mat. Navel goes towards the top of the mat. It's just the ribs and the armpits turning. And you know, that part of our spine isn't as naturally sort of mobile. So it might feel a bit stiffer. That's okay, that's a good thing. Remain. Back hand towards back heel, top hand really stretches up. You can hold it here. If there's range, lift the back leg. And keep trying to draw this right rib up off the waist. For 3. The whole left thigh, left hip still angling to the top of your mat. Last inhale. Hands to the mat, tuck the back toe, pyramid. How's the quality of the breath? How's the quality of the transitions of the breath? Are you being an active creator in the flow of your life? Please place the hands powerfully beside the front foot. Downward facing dog, step it back. Lift your right leg again, inhale. Lightly step up between the hands. Check it's a really nice long lunge, and then reach both hands to the sky. Same as before, both hips, navel, stay facing forward as you sink right down into that lunge. Notice quality of breath, quality of movement, and as you notice them, what you're also noticing is the quality of your mind. Stay, turn from the armpits towards the right thigh, hip forward, navel forward, ribs turn. 2 more breaths. Last one. Reach the back hand to back heel, top hand higher, and this time feel not just that the left ribs lift up off the left hip, but the left hip, the left knee press back towards the left ankle so that the 2 lines of that stretch draw away from each other. Last breath in here. Cartwheel hands beside the front foot, standing splits, lift the back leg up really high. Notice it here. As an outside observer, how are you creating your breath? How are you creating the movement? What are you doing to create flow in this moment of your life? Last inhale. Look at your top leg. Watch it step all the way back like you're doing warrior 2, and then walk around to a low lunge in that front leg. And you're just going to swap from front to back, front to back. Start to let the head dangle really low, almost like your crown could scrape the mat. Start to let the hands kind of dangle. And you might feel like you want to start drawing like big circles with the arms, the spine. Close the eyes if you need. As an outside observer, how much of a role are you creating in your own flow? Are you waiting for some cue outside of you? Or is it quality that you're able to harness for yourself? Come through the center, become slightly pigeon-toed, let the head dangle. Let the jaw, the neck, the skull settle. And observe the transitions of your breath. What's going on there? Please gently turn to a lunge at the back of your mat. Check the legs are nice and long, that you haven't, quite often what I see is people will shortchange with the back leg, they'll step it in. And while it might be comfortable in the moment, in the singular practice, it's another thing, a bit like the planks, that then starts to restrict the ability for your practice, but also your physical body to adapt and grow. So take a long lunge. You're aiming for ankle over knee, and the toes underneath the back heel, nice and long here. Almost over lunge if you're not sure. Reach up, crescent lunge. Eye gaze steady. Relax the jaw, the neck. Be an active participant in creating the fluidity of your life. Turn the chest towards that left thigh. Notice if your hips popped out to the side, draw it back towards the front heel. The two front hip bones are straight forward, as is the navel. And the twist comes from those ribs. Back hand to back heel. Again, feel that spark. Feel the right ribs draw off the right hip, but then extend right heel, knee back. Last big inhale here. Cartwheel, standing splits. Kick the right leg really high. Dangle the head. Notice the transitions of the breath. Last big inhale here. Watch the foot step all the way back. And this time rise. Both feet pointing straight to the sides of your mat. So feet are parallel. Inhale, palms are up. As you exhale, left hand to the outside of right shin, turn and look behind you. Rise up through the center, inhale. Right hand outside of left shin, turn and look behind you. You've got 8 of these. If there's more range, the hand can go to the mat and point back towards the heel. And it's a deliberately challenging moment for you to notice, what am I doing about flow? In the movement, in the breath. And it's an opportunity to practice. If I resist the natural changes of the world, if I resist the natural changes within myself, the people I love, we get stuck. Practice fluidity, flow in the transitions. When you next rise, stay. Turn and step to the top of the mat, hands in Anjali Mudra, eye gaze steady. Practice here Kaya Sthira, deep stillness. Resist any temptation to wriggle, get a drink, play with your clothes, leave that. Be still. Notice how you feel. Notice your relationship with the transitions. Right leg tree pose, please. Please change sides. Please gently release. Reach up on an inhale. Bow forward, exhale. Halfway lift. High plank to chaturanga. Through your cobra or upward facing dog. And downward facing dog. Lift your hips and heels very high, please. Take a big inhale here. Then look forward past your fingertips and step, jump or float all the way through to your butt. Place the feet hip distance. C-shape the spine and slowly curl down one vertebrae at a time. Notice any tendency to hunch the shoulders or the chest to do it. Relax them. Keep the front and the back shoulders relaxed. And feel that the pelvic floor zips up as you go down. When you rest down, please draw your right knee into the chest. Lengthen the left leg away. And take it across your body into a twist. Please change sides. Please make your way onto your back. Place the feet hip distance apart. Palms facing up. Shavasana. The pose where we learn to let go of the things that we grip, that we bind to. All these transitionary edges that we cling so tightly to. That then, when the world or our life asks us to be more present with flow, make that a struggle. What did you notice in that practice? Or in the breath, or in your thoughts, or in your body as the outside observer, did you notice a resistance, a jaggedness as things flowed? And how can you here let that go? Gently transition over to your right side. Please make your way to seated, hands in Anjali Mudra. Close the eyes. Three arms. Inhale.